at 89, down in Venice currently at 90 degrees. And you factor in that humidity. Look at the heat index in these places in triple digits in many spots. Feels like 105 in Newport Richey, 101 in St. Petersburg, and down in Bradenton. So the ridge kind of centered right over the middle of the state. So that's giving us more of that westerly flow across the northern part of our viewing area, a little bit more southerly down across the southern part of the state as far as the wind flow. And then as we go through the afternoon, there you see those showers and thunderstorms developing and then working their way right into the interior. They wind down. We'll see more of these showers by early tomorrow morning. There you see it tomorrow, 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. And then that same pattern we've seen over the past several days working their way into the interior and towards the other coast as we go through the afternoon hours. So our forecast for today, showers and thunderstorms moving inland, daytime high 92 degrees. Then for tonight, they come to an end. We'll see partly cloudy skies, a very steamy night with that low temperature of 79. And then for tomorrow, more of those coastal showers working their way inland, daytime high right back up to 92 degrees. On the water, winds are out of the west at 10 knots, seas 2 feet or less. Light chop on the bay. High tide, that comes up at 1:59 this afternoon. Here's the 7-day forecast. We'll keep that rain chance right around 40% all the way into the weekend. And starting to look at the 4th of July forecast, very typical. Daytime highs in the low 90s, about a 40% chance of those storms. Linda?
All right, Jim, thank you. Well, we have got 179 days until Christmas. Sounds like quite a while, but not for retailers. How businesses are already looking to hire holiday help. Plus a crown truly fit for a king. How Burger King is teaming up with Budweiser to ring in freedom this 4th of July. Well, Google has a new warning for its employees. Be nice to one another. The company has been having issues with its internal message boards. It's now telling workers to stop posting negative comments or criticisms about coworkers. They could be disciplined if they do, or even fired. The message board started a scandal last year when a male employee said women are less suited to be engineers than men. Chipotle is making a lot of changes. The chain's CEO says he is working on menu changes, even a possible happy hour. The company is looking for ways to revamp itself after the series of foodborne illnesses in recent years. There's also reports of shutting down 65 underperforming locations. Not clear yet where those are, but half of them are supposed to occur within the next month. Taco Bell bringing back a fan favorite for a second round. That's right, nacho French fries are back. They first appeared on the menu earlier this year, but starting July 12th, the fast food restaurant announced a limited-time summer sequel. They'll be available a la carte for $1.29, but for a little extra, you can add some toppings. There's a Supreme and Bel Grande version. And look at this, you can really be royalty at Burger King. Oh my goodness. Just in time for 4th of July, BK and Budweiser have teamed up and created this, the Freedom Crown. Customers who are 21 and older can snag the crown that will hold a can of Bud and their new American Brewhouse King sandwich. The sad news is you'll have to travel to Miami to get one, or Vegas. Well, the kids just got out of school, but Walmart is thinking about back to school already in 3D style. And Kohl's is already looking at Christmas. Fox Business Network's Tracy Carrasco has these and more in today's Business Briefs.
Just in time for back to school, Walmart is launching new high-tech shopping experiences on its website. The features are a 3D virtual shopping tour that lets customers take a virtual tour of a curated apartment, and Buy the Room, which is for customers to buy an entire setup quickly and easily. Starting July 2nd, donut fries will be available at participating Dunkin' Donut locations across the country. The donut fries are just like mini churros, and an order of 5 will go for about $2. And it's already Christmas at Kohl's department stores. The retailer announced that it has opened up its application process for holiday seasonal positions at more than 300 of its stores across the country. Kohl's is also staffing up for the back-to-school rush. That's business. For more, log on to foxbusiness.com. In New York, I'm Tracy Carrasco.
Supreme Court Justice Kennedy is out, and the changes that follow will be huge. The very latest from Washington coming up. We'll be right back.
From Tampa Bay's #1 news station, this is the Fox 13 News at Noon.
The stunning news out of D.C. is still sinking in. Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy sent a letter to the president announcing his retirement. He has been a moderate, often casting a swing vote. And as Fox's Doug Luzader tells us, replacing him will be an all-out political battle.
Buckle up. This is going to be quite a ride in the months ahead. These retirements are always tough to predict, but the partisan warfare that will ensue is going to get ugly. Don't let the sweeping facade fool you. What's happening now at the Supreme Court is nothing short of an earthquake. 81-year-old Justice Anthony Kennedy, seen for years as the swing vote, the guy you had to win over, is retiring. And President Trump, speaking at a rally in North Dakota last night, made it clear he wants to make the most of it.
We have to pick a great one. We have to pick one that's going to be there for 40 years, 45 years.
And that prospect of a further Trump imprint on the court that could last for decades left Democrats dejected.
This retirement is earth-shattering and gut-wrenching.
And they point to the Republicans' refusal to consider President Obama's nomination of Merrick Garland during the 2016 election year and say the GOP should wait until after the midterms.
Our Republican colleagues in the Senate should follow the rule they set in 2016, not to consider a Supreme Court justice in an election year.
But Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who controls the calendar, isn't likely to budge.
We will vote to confirm Justice Kennedy's successor this fall.
And there are plenty of names floating around, nearly any of which will run into Democratic opposition, but they can only do so much. And President Trump has learned just this week how big of a deal this is, with his earlier appointee, Neil Gorsuch, helping to chalk up victories on the administration's travel ban, a decision limiting union power, and another in favor of anti-abortion groups.
So Trump now knows both the political force of this decision and the practical agenda force of this decision.
And remember, in the Senate now, you just need a simple majority to confirm a Supreme Court pick, and Republicans have that, 51 to 49. So there is not much wiggle room here for the GOP. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
Homeland Security is asking the military for help. They need to move illegal immigrants into more acceptable housing. The Pentagon confirmed that they have been asked to house and care for up to 2,000 people within 45 days. If they don't have that capability, the military is being asked to construct soft-sided shelters, basically large tents. There will be 3 locations, although those have yet to be determined, but will be in the border states, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, or California. Some documents from a search warrant against Paul Manafort were unsealed. In it, there's a sworn affidavit from an FBI agent that was reviewing tax returns of a business that Manafort and his wife owned. This FBI agent says those show at some point a Russian loaned Manafort $10 million. Currently, Manafort is in jail waiting for his trial. He is accused of bank and tax fraud. The United States and Russia announced new details for the much-anticipated summit between their two presidents. Fox's John Roberts is in Washington with more on that.
The White House and Kremlin announced July 16th, Helsinki, Finland, as the date and venue for the first summit between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin.
I think we'll be talking about Syria. I think we'll be talking about Ukraine. I think we'll be talking about many other subjects.
Both leaders expected to discuss U.S.-Russia relations as well as a range of national security issues.
Maybe the key issue for us in terms of our strategy, our national security strategy, is arms control. The START treaty expires in February 2021, and we need to work, I think, with the Russians to determine whether there's mutual interest in extending it.
The announcement coming as President Trump is repeating his skepticism of any Russian election interference. Mr. Trump tweeting this morning, Russia continues to say they had nothing to do with meddling in our election. Yet the U.S. intelligence community has said otherwise, warning there's clear evidence of Russian efforts to influence the 2016 presidential election. National Security Advisor John Bolton says the topic came up Wednesday in Moscow as he began to lay the groundwork for the summit.
I expect it'll be a subject of conversation between the two presidents as well.
While Finland is not a NATO member, Helsinki has been the backdrop for past U.S. summits, including President George H.W. Bush's summit with Soviet Premier Mikhail Gorbachev in 1990 and President Clinton's summit with Boris Yeltsin in 1997. At the White House, John Roberts, Fox News.
After the historic summit with President Trump, North Korea said they would denuclearize. But are they? There are new satellite images that show they might be doing the exact opposite. The photos are of a North Korean nuclear research site. They appear to show that improvements have been made and that they are continuing to be made at a rapid pace. It's not clear exactly what kind of work is being done or how much. Meanwhile, U.S. Defense Secretary James Mattis is in South Korea, meeting with his counterpart. He assured the country the number of U.S. troops will remain the same. This comes after the U.S. canceled joint military exercises. Secretary Mattis's visit was a short stopover between his visits with China and Japan. Prince William continued his visit in Jerusalem today. This morning he visited his great-grandmother's gravesite. Princess Alice helped Jews escape the Holocaust, and her last wish was to have her remains buried in the Church of St. Mary Magdalene in the Holy City. After that, he also visited other Christian, Jewish, and Muslim holy sites, including the Western Wall. Back in Prince William's home country, there's excitement at the Whipsnade Zoo. 4 Amur tiger cubs have been born. Naya, the 7-year-old tigress, gave birth over the weekend. It's estimated there are only 500 left in the world, and these cubs are seen as a great success to the Endangered Species Program. Well, after the break, Lyme disease isn't the only worry when it comes to ticks. You could never be able to eat a burger again. How their bites are bringing on new allergies. Plus, it was 80s night at the ball game, and Slugger celebrated in style. Check out his moves, including a Dirty Dancing throwback. You'll love this. It's coming up.
You're watching the Fox 13 News at noon.
We're constantly talking about how lack of sleep can lead to health problems, but a new study says you could be at risk even if you're getting 8 hours in. According to the American Heart Association, women who experience mild sleep disturbances are significantly more likely to have high blood pressure. That includes things like having trouble falling asleep or waking up in the middle of the night. The study also found women with those issues had a higher level of a protein that plays a role in inflammation linked to heart disease. The results show it's not only important to get enough sleep, but make sure that it's quality sleep. A new study shows people are exercising more, but it's not making a dent in the number of people who are obese. Last year, 24% of adults say they completed enough exercise to meet government recommendations. That's a 3% increase from 2 years ago. Well, despite that, 31% of people say they were obese in 2016. That number is also slightly up. Researchers say the number represents two sets of people. Fit people are exercising more, and then there are those who don't exercise at all. The government recommends people lift weights twice a week in addition to completing 75 minutes high-intensity aerobic activity once a week. A warning for people who like to be outdoors. Experts are telling us that it will be a bad summer for ticks. One side effect of being bitten by a tick is becoming allergic to red meat. Did you know that? The tick bite makes the body sensitive to what's called alpha-gal, that is found in red meat and dairy. Sometimes the allergy can appear within hours, sometimes weeks. There's no cure, and experts say if you're going outside, wear some DEET and cover up. Artificial intelligence is already around, right? Alexa, Siri. But now one company says it's coming to healthcare and could be more accurate than human doctors. Babylon Health tested its system and scored 81% accuracy, but jumped to 98% with common illnesses, whereas human practitioners had a wide range of being correct in their diagnosis, anywhere from 64 to 94%. This study was done in conjunction with doctors at Stanford, Yale, and the Royal College. All right, here's a live look outside right now. Meteorologist Jim Weber will have another check on your forecast. Don't be fooled by those blue skies.
Hey everybody, I'm Charlie Belcher coming to you from Largo from Fast 5 Soccer. Yeah, they're playing soccer. Family, Chad used to play for the Rowdies, University of Tampa, is a St. Pete guy through and through. It's an interesting concept. I mean, you could never put 3 full-size soccer fields in this particular area, so you can get more here, and then the people who play can get more touch time, I mean, and that's what it's all about, right?
When you're on a bigger field, you're not getting those touches. I mean, you know, 11v11, you're not on the ball all the time. Here, That ball's constantly in play. You're getting way more touches than you could ever do on a big field practice or game.
So here's some kids are playing 5-on-5 soccer, and basically the rules are the same. It can go out of bounds. But it's just designed to be a faster, more fun for everyone involved game.
More touches, more goals, more involvement, everything. Your skill level gets up. I mean, the ball is just constantly in there. You know, in a game, you can hide a lot on a big field. Here, there's not a whole lot of hiding. That ball hits that net, ball's right back into play, and it's constant.
Now, this is really, while we're seeing kids here, in fact, you're doing kids camps. Tell me about the kids camps you're doing for the rest of the summer.
Kids camps, we do 5 a summer. We've already done 2. We just finished our full day camp. Right now, we have 3 half-day camps left. We do a technical session in the morning, then we have our little lunch break in the air conditioning of our building. I mean, it's a big perk from doing, I've done a lot of camps and doing them on the big field. The amount of touches, 6-7 times the touches that they can get on one of these camps than they can do. I mean, for me, I personally, I can't run any camp anywhere else than here. It's just amazing.
Well, and you mentioned the building, because really, Fast 5 Soccer kind of designed for adults. You've got a bar in there. You're offering craft beer from around the area. You also got bottles of beer and you got wine. So it's almost what Topgolf is to golf. Fast 5 Soccer could be for soccer, because you want the guys and the girls, the adults to come out and play.
Oh yeah, it's been shaped after the adults, and we just had such a huge kid following that we've opened up to one night of kids. Now we've opened up to 3 different nights where they have the earlier session and then all the adults come in the later session. But it's always been for the adults to come here to have a beer, to watch the World Cup games, whatever you want to do soccer-wise, hang out with your friends, girlfriends watching their boyfriends play, whatever they want to do. And the kids following has just been great. And we bring out those food trucks, so we do different events on different nights.
For $8, you get a wristband, get you an hour and a half of play time if you're an adult, and you got leagues on Tuesday. I mean, it's really becoming a thing, this 5-on-5 soccer. There you go, folks, and like Chad said, if the World Cup is on, then they are open here, and they've got the World Cup games on, so people are gathering here to watch and to enjoy the sport loved around the world, which is soccer or football and most of the rest of the world. For more information, go to fox13news.com, and it's fast5soccer.com, the number 5, fast5soccer.com. Charlie Belcher, Fox 13 News.
We got it. Thank you, Charlie. A San Antonio airport police officer is hoping to start a lip sync battle among canine teams after he shared video of himself and his dog partner lip syncing to Poison. Check. That's Sergeant Lopez with his canine partner Cora. The lip sync battle appears to have been more of a solo, though, as Cora remains tight-lipped throughout the song. New York Yankees outfield Aaron Judge made one young fan's night, got it right, when he played catch with him from the stands. You can see the boy tossing the ball around with the MLB All-Star. The boy's dad was right next to him watching and seemed pretty excited, too. That is nice. You recognize that music, right? Well, here's Slugger the Sea Dog at a game in Portland. It was 80s night at the ballpark, so Slugger launched into some flash dance. Wow, pretty good dancer, actually. And then Dirty Dancing. The highlight of the show when a groundskeeper got involved and recreated the famous Patrick Swayze lift from the movie. Perfectly executed, and the crowd had, wait for it, the time of their lives. Come on, you get that, Jim, right?
Yes.
That's the theme song from the movie, Dirty Dancing.
I think the groundskeeper and the mascot, they've got a lot of time on their hands.
You know, that's sometimes my favorite part of the game, to be honest.
Yeah.
The shenanigans that happen
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that was good. That was really good.
Yeah.
Entertaining.
So what's going on? I saw sunny skies at the beach and thunderstorms building over Tampa.
Yeah, it's all a matter of where you are. You're out at the beach right now. You're saying, what a beautiful day. You're here in Tampa, maybe out towards Brandon. You're saying, wow, these storms are really starting to crank up. That's the view over downtown Tampa, and you do see a lot of these dark skies. The storms are really starting to crank up as they work their way on towards the east. And Sky Tower radar really been just kind of lighting up over the past 45 minutes with a lot of activity. We watched it along the coastal areas first thing this morning, and as it works its way on shore, it just continues to kind of spread and develop. There you see some of the heaviest portions of this now working its way over towards Brandon, just to the south of Brandon, heading out towards Lithia Pinecrest along I-4, heading out into Plant City, heading into Lakeland as well, then up towards New Tampa as well. Some other storms out into the bay, and notice the motion. Everything's working its way from the west down towards the south and the east. Over towards Polk City and then the drive through Polk County along I-4. A lot of storm activity until you get out into, say, extreme eastern Polk County, up towards Dade City, Zephyr Hills, heading up towards Ridge Manor, and then more of it as you work your way back towards the coastline. Weeki Wachee, Spring Hill, up towards Chassahowiska, and then into Citrus County. You see a lot of this, and Ridge Manor. This is all eastern Hernando County. Work our way up into Citrus County. Citrus Springs seeing some of the activity a bit further inland, and then all east of I-75 throughout Manatee and Sarasota County. Outside right now, we're at 89 degrees. Look at that dew point, how high that is. Very muggy outside at 75. Brandon, you've got the storms around, but your latest temperature is at 90. You'll be cooling down with those storms. Sarasota 89, Bradenton has an 89. St. Petersburg currently sits at 88 degrees. Ridge sitting kind of right over the state, so to our north. You've got that westerly flow helping to push a lot of that storm activity on shore. In fact, watch it on Futurecast. As we go through the afternoons, throughout the interior, over on the eastern side of the state, it winds down. And then again tomorrow, you're going to see these storms developing first along those coastal areas and then working their way on shore as we go through the day. So the forecast does call for more of these showers and thunderstorms moving inland. Daytime high 92 degrees. A wind down tonight, overnight low of 79. But early tomorrow morning, you're going to see more of these storms along those coastal areas and then working their way on shore. Daytime high right back up into the lower 90s. Here's the 7-day forecast. Keep that rain chance right around 40% as we head into the weekend, and these very steamy daytime highs in the low 90s, Linda.
Thank you, Jim. After the break, it's entertainment news, including how Celine Dion shocked fans with this new look, how she ditched her classic look for some lighter locks.
watching the Fox 13 News at noon.
Well, Celine Dion shocked fans with this post to her Instagram. A bold new look, lighter hair with bangs, and a bold dress with an Hermes bag. The singer is in Tokyo on the Asian part of her tour. That was 2 days ago. Then yesterday, she posted this picture she was on the stage after the Tokyo concert. It looks like her hair is back to normal, although she was rocking a very Asian-inspired dress there. And here's the first look at a new movie coming out starring Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. It's called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and it's about the Manson family murders. Leo shared this on social media, the two of them in their 1960s fashion glory. Margot Robbie is playing Sharon Tate, the model actress who was murdered. Quentin Tarantino is directing it, and it could be Quentin's final movie. He has always said he's retiring after 10 movies, and this is his 10th. It's slated to come out August of 2019. And there we have it. Dwayne Johnson posted that last night. The sequel to his blockbuster hit, Jumanji: Welcome to a Jungle, is a go. And as you saw, it will be coming out December 13th of 2019. The sequel will bring back not only Johnson, but also Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and Karen Gillan.
The Pearl is the tallest, most advanced building in the world. You've built a vertical city, but you've brought with it every single safety and security challenge that I could think of.
We thought this floor was empty.
So did I.
Not only have you brought them all indoors, but you've trapped them 240 floors in the air. No one really knows what would happen if things go wrong.
But that is The Rock's next movie coming out next month called Skyscraper. It will be in theaters July 13th, and in an unusual move, the studio has also gotten approval to release the movie in China July 20th. China has what's called a summer blackout, meaning only domestic movies are usually released, but Skyscraper is getting a waiver. Probably doesn't hurt that the movie is set in China. And if you want to hit the theaters this weekend, there's a thriller, and a Pepsi ad turns into a movie. Not your ordinary type flicks. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin shows us what's new in the theater.
A couple unique flicks look to mix up the summer fare at the movies this week, like an intense thriller of a sequel.
It's a nice day for a drive, huh?
Oh, beautiful day.
Josh Brolin and Benicio del Toro return for Sicario, Day of the Soldado. This time the FBI agent and mysterious operative teaming up to stop a Mexican drug cartel smuggling terrorists across the border, implementing their brand of unconventional methods by kidnapping a kingpin's daughter to escalate the conflict and take the whole thing down.
Let's do this!
From online to on the big screen, it's Uncle Drew. The story starts with Lil Ray Howery as a guy losing on the court to a longtime basketball rival until he recruits Drew, aka incognito NBA All-Star Kyrie Irving. The two road trip to gather Drew's crew, which consists of Shaq, Chris Webber, and Reggie Miller, all leading to one epic showdown.
How many can you save? 11 species.
Speaking of showdowns, leading the box office is current champ Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, with its worldwide tally of over $700 million and counting.
It's time to make some wrong things right.
Plus, there's that record-breaking superhero family of Incredibles 2, earning over $480 million across the globe. That's after taking the title of Best Opening Weekend Ever for an animated film. In New York, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Well, if you live in Tampa, it might be a good afternoon to take in a movie.
Yeah, lots going on Sky Tower Radar.
Right.
The storms are just kind of roaming about, and they're going to work their way inland as we go through the afternoon. So watch that radar, Sky Tower Radar app, great tool to have. 7-day forecast shows more rain. We get the scattered storms each and every day, all the way through the weekend.
Jim, thanks. Well, the news doesn't end here. We're going to keep posting the latest all day on fox13news.com and our Fox 13 News app right on your phone.
Plus, look for more news, weather, and sports beginning at 5 o'clock.
I hope to see you right back with us tonight at 5. And until then, have a great afternoon, everyone.
From Tampa Bay's #1 news station, this is the Fox 13 News at Noon.
A cold-blooded murder at a construction site, and today there is new video that could help catch the killer. Plus thousands of dollars in cell phones gone. The burglars who busted their way into multiple stores and ransacked the places. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Linda Hurtado. Thanks so much for joining us. Deputies have released new video that could lead them to the men wanted for an execution-style murder. Fox 13's Kelly Cowan is in Wesley Chapel with more on what happened and that video.
Pasco County Sheriff's Office is calling this an execution-style murder, and they're asking for the public's help in tracking down these two killers because, as Sheriff Chris Nacco says, they are still on the loose. He says this was definitely a targeted killing. It happened in a Wesley Chapel neighborhood on Wednesday afternoon during a lunch break for some construction workers. Deputies say two men walked up and opened fire, and now those suspects are on the run. This happened in the Estancia at Wiregrass community, which is just north of the shops at Wiregrass. The victim is Heinz Gianni Alvarez. He's 46 and was part of a tile crew working at the home that's under construction. Due to the ongoing construction, the front gates of the community were left open, so the car that these two suspects used didn't have to stop and check in with anybody. Just before 1 on Wednesday, the crew took a lunch break, and while they were sitting in the garage of the home, a witness said two men came in and walked directly towards Alvarez. One of the men tapped him on the leg and then shot him point blank without saying a word.
All indications that there was no robbery. He did have jewelry on him. The jewelry was not removed, so that shows us even more. It was just clearly they were there for the sole intention of executing him. So there's no indication that there was an attempted robbery. When the other witness, the gun was pointed at him, he took off and they ran just as well. They ran off also.
The Pasco County Sheriff's Office released this video just this morning showing the black four-door sedan that it says the suspects used to carry out their hit. It's shown from several different angles and it's pretty clear, so take a good look at your screens. This captured from several different surveillance video cameras in that Wesley Chapel neighborhood. Now the suspects are described as very thin, light-skinned black males, potentially between the heights of 5'3" and 5'8". They also are described as having very short, possibly dreaded hair. Anybody that has any information about this, or if you think you recognize that vehicle, you're asked to give the Pasco County Sheriff's Office a call. In Pasco County, Kelly Cowan, Fox 13 News.
And we've learned that Crime Stoppers is now offering a $3,000 reward for information in the case. So if you know anything, give them a call. Tragic accident in Manatee County overnight. A bicyclist was killed when he was hit by a car. It happened at 3:15 this morning on Lorraine Road in Manatee County. Troopers say both the bike and an SUV were going south. The SUV clipped the rear tire of the bike. 34-year-old Nicholas Wilson was thrown from the bike and died. The driver of the SUV, 23-year-old Dylan Sapola, did stop. Charges are pending. A garbage truck driver will not face criminal charges after hitting and killing a woman in Tampa. Driver Jarvis Mercer didn't see her. Mercer has had some traffic problems in the past, including 2 citations for careless driving, but officials describe them as minor. The city has not confirmed whether Mercer will keep his job. We're also learning the name of the motorcyclist killed after hitting a deputy in Bradenton. Officials say David McIntosh was driving west on Cortez Road last night when he ran into Deputy Hart's patrol car. The accident shut down that part of Cortez Road for several hours. The deputy went to the hospital as a precaution. Officials are still investigating exactly what happened. Pinellas deputies arrested a man for possessing child porn. They received a tip about Gregory Scott, and officials say they found numerous pictures on his home computer and USB drive. He is being held on $1 million bond. Burglars in Plant City got away with thousands of dollars in cell phones, and police are looking for 3 people. They smashed their way through the front window of the Metro PCS store on James L. Redmond Parkway last week. They took phones and headsets, and just 4 days later, they broke into the Sprint store on that same street. And a half hour later, they broke into another Metro PCS store on Baker Street. Crime Stoppers is offering a $3,000 reward for information on those crimes. We're getting a new look at the aftermath of a bus crash in Pinellas County. As you can see, the bus is damaged, but this could have been a lot worse. A Good Samaritan is being hailed a hero. He jumped on the bus and was able to stop it before it did any damage. And Fox 13's Alcides Segui has more now from Treasure Island.
Public buses weigh on average between 20,000 pounds and 33,000 pounds. It's very difficult to stop. So much so, there was a concrete beam here. It's about 2 feet radius, more than 20 feet high. It knocked it right over, and still that bus continued on another 20 yards or so, coming to a stop just before the intersection of 107th Avenue and Goff Boulevard. Pictures will show you the damage sustained to the bus. Unbelievably, no one was seriously hurt, and it's all thanks to that Good Samaritan. That person realized the bus was traveling erratically. When the bus came to a stop, he approached the bus driver to see if he was okay, and that's when he realized the bus driver was having a medical episode, so he got on board. Suffering again from some sort of a medical emergency, the bus driver's foot fell onto the accelerator, the bus traveling west onto 107th Avenue and 1st Street East. The bus was actually going westbound in eastbound lanes, jumped onto a sidewalk. That's when the Good Samaritan pulled on the steering wheel back onto the road. He tried hitting the brakes, but the bus driver was in the way. The bus was back onto the road, crossing several lanes of traffic, slammed into that concrete pole I was just telling you about. Eventually, the Good Samaritan was able to hit the brakes with his hands. The bus stopped before crashing into several cars and possibly even a hotel. Officers found the bus driver to be awake but unresponsive to conversation. As of today, we don't know how that bus driver is doing, and we're not exactly sure if there were passengers on board. Again, thankfully, no one was seriously hurt. But when you hear a story like that and how it all played out from beginning to end, no doubt it could have been a lot worse. At Treasure Island, Alcides Segui, Fox 13 News.
Thank you, Alcides. Well, more schools across the state are now earning A's and B's. The Florida Department of Education just released its school report card for the last school year, and it's based largely on how students performed on standardized tests. So here's a look at our school districts. Hernando, Hillsborough, and Manatee school districts all got B's, while Hardy and Highlands got C's. All of the schools you see here got the same grade as they did the year before. Polk County was the only local district to improve. It went from a C to a B, and Pinellas also got a B, and Sarasota was the only A-rated district in our area. Now, the report's release was especially important for one school in Hillsborough County, Mort Elementary. Last year, they received a D grade. They now have a C. They were one of several schools that received less than C grades for 3 straight years, which, as of last year, meant the state would have to take action. Moton Elementary in Hernando County also received good news. They went from a D to a C. The superintendent decided to fire all of the school's teachers back in April. You might remember that, because the school has been underachieving for 2 years. If you want to see how your child's school stacks up, head over to fox13news.com and check under the Seen on TV section. New this afternoon, a Hillsborough deputy dove into the lake to save a trapped dog. The owner called the sheriff's office after her boxer got stuck on the far side of a small lake and started to cry. Deputy Matt Patelis did not hesitate, jumped in after the dog. Then he comforted the animal and managed to get him back to land safely. The sheriff's office says they're always on duty, even in swamp water. Well, coming up, a close call for a Florida police officer. How a lightning strike scared him and his canine right back into their cruiser. Ooh, boy, Jim, we've been that lately.
Yes, we have, and we're seeing more of those roaming around the area right now. We've been watching these showers along the coast layers. They're working their way on shore. In fact, as you look over downtown Tampa, you see some of the dark clouds, some of the rain coming down right now. Lots to see on Sky Tower radar. We'll show you where the rain is, where it's heading for this afternoon. And of course, that complete forecast is coming up right after the break.
Right now at 5, a mass shooting at a newspaper office in Maryland. At least 5 people dead. We're following this alert in Annapolis, where a lone gunman opened fire.
His punishment is official. Jameis Winston suspended for 3 games. The apology he's making to fans and the Uber driver at the center of that scandal.
It's not a choice. There wasn't a choice.
He was a reaction.
A good Samaritan who jumped into action to help steer this wayward bus to safety.
From Tampa Bay's #1 news station, this is the Fox 13 5 o'clock news.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Cato in for Cynthia.
And I'm Linda Hurtado. We begin with this news alert out of Annapolis, Maryland. A shooting inside the offices of Capital Gazette newspaper. Officials say someone opened fire, killing at least 5 people. Fox 13's Gloria Gomez has been monitoring this developing story. And Gloria, walk us through what happened. What can you tell us?
Linda, it's still a very active situation. We know multiple people have been shot. We know a few have died, at least 5 dead from what we're hearing. Now, this all started and unfolded around 3:45 this afternoon at the Capital Gazette newspaper building in Annapolis, Maryland. The entire building was evacuated. You see people walking out with their hands up. We know the shooter is now in custody, but we don't know his identity and we don't know what motivated this shooter. Police are still calling this, though, a very active shooter situation, meaning that the threat has not been eliminated. Now, we know Phil Davis, who's a crime reporter at the newspaper, was in the newsroom and was actually tweeting when this was happening. He said, quote, "Gunmen shot through glass door to the office and opened fire on multiple employees. Can't say much more. Don't want to declare anyone dead, but it's bad." He also went on to describe it as a war zone inside that newsroom. I can tell you, police just talked to reporters a short time ago, including our sister station there. Let's listen to what they had to say. Take a look.
I can't confirm exactly how many injuries. I do know that we do have injuries. That was first called in. So again, we don't anticipate this being some type of a mass major casualty with hundreds of injuries, but we do have injuries.
Again, police say this remains an active shooter situation. The SWAT team actually sweeping through that building as we speak. We know multiple injuries, but we know at least 5 people confirmed dead, possibly more. The alleged shooter, according to police, is now being interrogated by police, but at this point, Linda, we have no idea what the motive might have been.
So they're calling it an active scene, but they're not looking for any other shooters at this point, correct?
They're just saying it's not a safe situation yet. They don't know if there was another shooter involved. At this point, they're saying no, but they're still sweeping through that entire building. So this remains a very active situation.
And we will keep our viewers updated. Thank you, Gloria.
Okay.
Well, the big story here locally is only related to sports, thankfully, but it is official now. The NFL has suspended Bucs quarterback Jameis Winston for the first 3 games of the regular season for violating the league's personal conduct policy. The NFL says its investigation found that Winston touched an Uber driver in a, quote, inappropriate and sexual manner without her consent. 2 years ago in Arizona that happened. Fox 13's Kevin O'Donnell joining us now with more on this. Kevin?
Well, Chris, the NFL's finding is very clear and to the point. They believe the Uber driver based on interviews and evidence they gathered in their investigation that's lasted 8 months. The league states the driver's account of the incident was consistent and credible. Now, here's how the league came to their conclusion. This is a portion of the NFL released statement. The league promptly initiated a comprehensive investigation that included interviews with several persons, including the driver, Winston, and others in the relevant information. Now, the league also examined an extensive amount of other evidence, including telephone records, business records, data from electronic devices, and other communications. Now, based on the investigation, the NFL found that Winston had violated the NFL personal conduct policy, which allows for discipline to be imposed even though criminal charges were not presented. Now, Jameis Winston has accepted guilt. He could have received a 6-game suspension for this, but NFL Network is reporting this was a negotiated settlement between the NFL and Jameis. Here's Jameis' statement. "I would like to say I'm sorry to the Uber
other guys in that car. He kind of leaves it open-ended.
He does, but his apologies and the fact that he mentioned the alcohol kind of leads you to the feel that he is going to take some responsibility to this, but clearly he didn't come out and say, I did this, because that would contradict what he said in November, where he called this basically a lie, that none of this was true. So I didn't see that he wanted to go back on that statement that he released back in November.
All right, Kevin O'Donnell live for us. We know that there will be much more from this, and we'll look at how this will affect the Bucs season later as we parse through this later today. Kevin, thank you.
Detectives want you to take a good look at this black four-door sedan. They say it may be linked to the murder of a construction worker yesterday in Wesley Chapel. Jans Alvarez was on his lunch break at the construction site when two men walked up to him and shot him, execution style. Then they took off in a black vehicle. The one seen in this video is believed to be a 2017-2018 black Ford Fusion hybrid. Detectives are not saying if this is the vehicle the suspects drove away in, but instead they're calling it a car of interest, and anyone who recognizes it should call the Pasco County Sheriff's Office.
Well, there are some serious cell phone thieves on the loose right now in Plant City. Detectives say these guys have hit 3 stores in less than a week. First, the Metro PCS on James Redmond Parkway. 4 days later, a Sprint store just down the street there, and then a second Metro PCS store on West Baker Street. In each case, the 3 thieves waited until the stores were closed. Then they busted through the store's front window, ransacked the place, stole cell phones, took headsets. They were in and out within less than a minute. The suspects are accused of stealing more than $6,500 worth of stuff. If you know anything about the people who are responsible for this, Plant City Police would love to hear from you. And people in a Lakeland neighborhood have returned to their homes now after being forced to evacuate because of a gas leak. This happened near the intersection of 10th Street and Kettles Avenue. Workers there accidentally hit a gas line, which is what caused the leak. Roads were shut down in that nearby vicinity, along with homes that had to be evacuated as a precaution. Thankfully, no one was hurt. The situation is now under control.
New video of a PSTA bus driving out of control in Treasure Island yesterday. It barrels down this road, then at one point drives over a curb. We later find out the driver was having a medical emergency. Fox 13's Dan Maddox joins us now live. And Dan, you talked to the man who actually jumped onto that bus and took the wheel, likely saving lives.
Yeah, his story is simply heroic. I was actually allowed inside the garage here at the Pinellas Southern Coast Transit Authority earlier this afternoon to take a look at that bus. And when you look at the front of it, it is absolutely incredible that no one was killed.
Surveillance video shows this Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority bus out of control all over 1st Street on Treasure Island. Inside, Treasure Island police say the driver having a medical emergency.
I was shaking. I thought this was it.
Mike Hale was a few cars behind the bus and noticed something was wrong. At one point, when the bus came to a stop in the middle of the road, he got out to help when he noticed the driver, Irvin Jones, unresponsive.
I think he's having a seizure.
With Hale on board, the driver's leg became trapped on the gas pedal.
And now we're accelerating. I tried to pull his leg off the accelerator. He was having a seizure. That wasn't happening.
Finally, he was able to pull the driver's leg off the pedal.
This is all happening in milliseconds. We're heading for a parking lot and a big palm tree. I grabbed the steering wheel.
Eventually, the bus crashed up on a sidewalk into a pole. Jones being treated in a hospital.
The driver turns 60 tomorrow.
Hale left with bruised ribs and a few cuts and scrapes, credited not only with saving the bus driver's life, but also the lives of so many bystanders.
It's not a choice. It wasn't a choice. It was a reaction.
No updates this evening on that bus driver's condition. Can tell you when Mike got on board, the single passenger was able to exit the bus at that time. So that's some good news here, Linda. Not a lot of people on that bus at the time when this happened. We'll send it back to you.
Wow, he certainly risked his life to help that bus driver. You can just feel how emotional he still is about it. Thanks, Dan.
Way to go, Mike Hale.
Yeah,
So glad he was there at that time. That's amazing.
Well, coming up, digging into the violent past of a man at the center of a hit-and-run tragedy.
Who Mikey S'mores turned on first, just weeks before police say he ran over a family, killing a father. We'll have that story ahead at 5:30.
Plus, your favorite toys coming to life. We'll take you inside Disney's new Toy Story Land ahead of this weekend's opening. But first...
You make it sound easy.
It's not easy, no, but we have to do it frequently.
so that they know what is expected.
That is a wildlife official talking about training alligators. Yes, you can train gators. Who knew? And who knew that it could save the state money? We'll have a look at groups that are going the extra mile to spend less.
And we are continuing to follow that news alert in Annapolis, Maryland, where we know at least 5 people have died at a local newspaper. The gunman is in custody. Detectives are securing the area, and we will have an update for you just ahead. Where are their cars? Customers of Tampa Auto Customs say their cars are locked up and the business is closed. They dropped their cars off for work to be done, but now they can't get them back. Fox 13's Evan Axelbank is live on North Florida Avenue at Fowler with more on this story. What's going on, Evan?
Well, Linda, all looks normal here right now, but you can see that there is a sign in the window that says this auto body shop, Tampa Auto Customs and Collision, has cars back. Now, I did just speak with the owner of this shop, so hang with me here. But first of all, earlier today, customers were here filling out police reports. There are a number of cars visible behind the gate. There were even some people behind the gate, one of whom starts on Monday. We spoke to one customer here who says that his car has been here for months.
I came up here Monday. I was assured that the shop would be open this past Monday. It was not. I came back Tuesday. I was told that the shop would be open. It was not. I was told Wednesday that I would be allowed to retrieve my vehicle and my personal equipment from this shop, and it was not open.
Let me tell you, it's past frustrating because when you talk to people and they look you in your eye and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and you don't know their intentions, you don't know their intentions is to scam you, it you off because what can you do?
So we have spoken to the registered agent. Her name is Diana Cuellar. I just spoke to her by phone literally 3 or 4 minutes ago, and she told me that all of the customers have been given a time tomorrow to get their cars back. She says there have been some safety concerns with giving people their cars back. She also said that this shop had to close, Linda, on Monday because of several different things, including some issues with some employees and also what she called some health issues. So she promises me that this situation is being rectified. She says the customers are going to get their cars back tomorrow, and Linda, you can bet that we're going to make sure that that's exactly what happens.
Oh, I know you'll stay on it, Evan. Thank you so much.
New at 5, they went beyond the call of duty to save you some tax money. Yeah, these state employees gathered in Lakeland today to get a pat on the back from a tax watchdog group. Fox 13's Ken Suarez introduces us to some behind-the-scenes money savers.
Gators. You don't tangle with one.
But when a storm is heading our way, these gator whisperers get the critters to actually obey.
The Homosassa Springs Wildlife State Park team trained the park's 8 alligators and 1 crocodile to respond to commands, which is better than I can do with my children.
Definitely deserving of recognition. They've trained gators to get into crates so they can be moved when the park starts to flood. The secret?
Could be chicken, could be mice, could be fish.
Karen Wilson took a bite out of bureaucracy. Test results that could have taken a month to get back from FDLE now can get back in a flash.
Now with the process that we've implemented, there are some times that we can get it done and turned around in a day.
Christine Smith developed a competition between health department clinics to up their breastfeeding numbers, and they did.
Breastfeeding lowers healthcare costs for both mother and baby.
All the winners were recognized at the Tax Watch Prudential Productivity Awards.
This year they're giving out 170 awards to people from around the state who might otherwise go unnoticed for all the incredibly cool stuff they've accomplished.
It's an honor for us to be able to call them out and sort of give them something and make sure that everybody knows what they've done.
They save time and or money, things that always seem to be in short supply. In Lakeland, Ken Suarez, Fox 13 News.
Pretty cool story there. Didn't know you could train alligators to respond to commands. Apparently they can. Along with that recognition, some of the award recipients also got a check of an undisclosed amount.
A great update out of St. Pete. The city's historic State Theater has been saved. Real estate broker Kevin Chadwick bought the theater for $2.1 million. He plans to spend another $1 million in renovations, which will get underway immediately. Chadwick says he wanted to save the theater in part because that is where his mother and father had their first date. The future of the theater was in jeopardy after numerous fire code violations. That building was built in 1924 and was originally a bank.
And now, Fox 13 meteorologist Tyler Eliason with your Sky Tower radar forecast.
Well, certainly dodging some showers and storms, some heavy rain around Tampa Bay early this afternoon made for kind of a messy stretch of weather. If you were out and about earlier today, I certainly ran into some heavy rain on my way into the station. Check out the picture right now from Clearwater Beach. Left side of your screen, just south of Clearwater, really heavy rainfall just offshore and actually coming ashore as you head south from there. A couple peaks of sunshine and more showers offshore. Pretty interesting shot right there. A lot of the activity today, unlike yesterday when everything was inland, has been forming up around Tampa Bay and then moving to the south and east. If you were with us yesterday, we're talking about the potential of kind of this upper level low swinging in, enhancing the rainfall coverage for us as we closed out the week. And that looks to be the case. So adjusting the forecast a little bit as we get set to head into the weekend. Here's Sky Tower right now, pretty active in parts of Pinellas County. As you just saw, some heavy rain just south of Clearwater down towards Indian Rocks Beach. Largo, a pretty dry spot so far this month, finally seeing some heavy rainfall. Pinellas Park dry at the moment, but there is some heavy rainfall from St. Pete Beach over towards downtown St. Pete, and that is drifting to the south and east. If that heads over the Skyway, that will be a messy drive for folks headed home from work this evening. Right down the coastline, more showers and storms. Bradenton, Sarasota, fairly quiet right now. There's a couple showers just off the coast of Longboat Key right now, but as you head down towards Venice, Inglewood, Northport, you're all in some showers and storms, and those as well are slowly pushing down to the south and east. So there's that general sagging motion down to the south. Pretty much everything north of Tampa Bay quiet right now. A lot of light rain, moderate rain through parts of Hardee and DeSoto County, portions of Highlands County, Sebring seeing some moderate rain around as well. More heavy rainfall as you get south of Lake Placid down towards Lake Okeechobee. So right now we're just kind of watching radar. There's a few light showers in spots that earlier had some heavy rainfall. Eastern Hillsborough County, a little bit of light rain out towards Lakeland and Bartow. Fort Meade, you have a little light rain headed your way as well. As I said, not much happening north of Tampa Bay. I think a lot of this will quiet down in the short term, say over the next 2-3 hours, but by late tonight into the overnight hours, I would expect kind of a resurgence of showers and a few thunderstorms as well. So it could be a little rumble of thunder out there as you're sleeping late tonight. Temperatures did eventually climb into the 90s today. Took a while, but early this afternoon, 92. When did the rain arrive? Well, right about 3 o'clock. Got knocked back down into the upper 70s, and right now we're still in the upper 70s in Tampa, 77 in Brandon, 77 in Wauchula, where it hasn't rained much, at least over the last few hours. Places like Crystal River, 88 degrees. It's 82 in Newport Richey. A lot of heat through the middle of the country. Triple digits, upper 90s, 99 in Dallas, 102 in Denver. There's this big ridge of high pressure out in the middle of the country right now, this big heat dome. What we're watching for the weekend, again, is that developing upper level low that will move from east to west across the state and just swing in some additional moisture, some added lift in the atmosphere. You combine that with the afternoon sea breeze. It spells some better rain chances Friday, Saturday, even towards Sunday. Not a complete washout. It's not going to be raining all the time for the next 2 or 3 days, but I would expect several rounds of showers and storms with at least a few periods of dry weather mixed in. Again, that continues all the way through Sunday. Should start to quiet things down a bit as we get towards the middle of next week, towards your 4th of July. 79 tonight. Showers again will redevelop late, so after 10, 11 o'clock or so, look for more showers and a few thunderstorms. Tomorrow, scattered showers and storms. The rain chance about 60%. Should still break into the low 90s. Pretty much the same story on Saturday with the rain chance again about 60%. If you're boating tomorrow, winds out of the west at 10 knots, seas at 2 feet or less, but do watch out for those afternoon thunderstorms especially. 7-day forecast, rain chances enhanced through Sunday. Start to quiet things down. Rain chance by the 4th of July down to 30%. Hey, Linda.
Thank you, Tyler. Disney's newest attraction set to open this weekend, and we will take you inside Toy Story Land next.
To infinity and beyond!
They're the toys we first fell in love with 20 years ago, and now they're coming to life at Disney's new Toy Story Land. The park opens Saturday at Disney's Hollywood Studios, but we are getting a sneak peek tonight, which means you're getting a sneak peek too.
Oh, a lot of people have been waiting for this, and Fox's Tom Johnson is getting that sneak peek. He joins us now live from Hollywood Studios. So, Tom, how are Woody and Buzz doing?
They're doing great. As a matter of fact, Buzz was here a few minutes ago, but he had to go to infinity and beyond, of course. This place is really cool, magical, you might say. Everything is exactly as you would expect it in Toy Story Land. It's built from the toys perspective, so everything's gigantic, just like it was in the movie. There's lots of little touches from Andy around, and right behind me is the premier attraction in Toy Story Land. That's the Slinky Dog Dash coaster, and we got to ride it earlier, and we want you to see what it was like. Sorry, here it is. All right, we're on board the Slinky Dog Dash, the first thing I really like about this coaster is the first hill. Most coasters, mini coasters, are real slow. Not this one. You're going fast right out of the gate, and it leads you into the first big drop, a left-hand turn, and then over a couple of humps, and then you're going round and round in a corkscrew. Woo! It's not the fastest coaster you'll ever go on, but it does have a little speed to it, and you can hear it messes with my voice. So about halfway through, not to ruin it, but I'm gonna, you stop. And then you back up a little bit, and then guess what? 1, 2, 3, boom. You're going again, and this is the second big thrill, up and over the hump. A little tiny, almost weightlessness, and then you're up and down, wagging Slinky Dog's tail. And then, about 2 minutes after it starts, the Slinky Dog Dash is done, and I promise you, it's billed as a family coaster. Don't let that shy away if you're into the big thrill coasters, because this is a lot of fun. There's really nothing here that's not a lot of fun. Of course, it's Disney, it's Toy Story, it's a whole Toy Story land. And again, it opens to the public Saturday morning inside Disney's Hollywood Studios. Live in Orlando, Tom Johnson.
Tom, I know you can't see me, but I'm giving you a round of applause.
Yes,
you
we're all
talked your way
applauding
through that whole
and I'm giving
ride.
I'm giving Disney a round of applause because Tom said that ride lasted 2 minutes. I mean, that's the biggest complaint I have about roller coasters, Tom, is you wait for 2 hours in line and then you get on the thing and it's over in 30 seconds. So I'm glad that Slinky Dog is giving us our money's worth there.
Thank you, Tom.
Oh, and it's so great, too, when that wind is going, because it's about 130 degrees today.
Oof.
Yeah,
right.
Really. All right, Tom Johnson, live. Thank you, Tom.
I had fun with that. Well, Disney knows wait times for those rides will be long hours.
That's
even
what
we were
I'm
just
talking about,
that. So they've come up with something to help pass the time.
Yeah, it's an app that turns the park's attractions into interactive games that you can play on your phone. The next time you're waiting 2 hours to ride Space Mountain, just whip out the Play Disney Parks app and you can challenge your friends to a round of Rocket Race. Or if you're in line for what Tom was on there, Slinky Dog Dash, there's an interactive game tied to that one as well that lets you dig into Andy's Toy Box. The app is really connected to a number of rides now at Disney parks. It launches Saturday, of course, on the same day that Toy Story Land opens to the public.
Well, coming up, a public service announcement that's so real, it was even difficult for first responders to watch.
Has anybody seen Sam? What? Sam!
Oh, how a local county is using this reenactment to drive home an important message about drownings.
And of course, we're still following the news alert out of Annapolis, Maryland. A mass shooting inside a newspaper office has left at least 5 people dead. The gunman is in custody. Detectives are trying to determine a motive, and we are following the investigation. Stay with us.
An update now out of Annapolis, Maryland. Detectives are conducting a massive sweep of a newspaper building where a gunman opened fire. This happened at the Capitol Gazette. Detectives are making sure that everyone is evacuated and there are no explosives or other dangers inside. They say at least 5 people have died and several others are gravely injured. The single gunman who carried out the shooting is in custody. Now, we don't know the name of the suspect, but they say he is a white male and was believed to have been carrying a shotgun. Officials say he is not cooperating with investigators. We are still following this developing story and will update you as soon as we know more.
Also developing tonight, we're learning more now about the driver who's accused of deliberately running over a man and his 2 sons as they were bicycling in New Tampa on Sunday, killing the father. Now we're finding out what the suspect, this man, Mykese Morse, did in the weeks leading up to it. We've reported on some of his mental health struggles. Fox 13's Gloria Gomez has been digging into his past. And what have you found out, Gloria?
Well, turns out that 2 weeks before the hit-and-run crash, we know now that he attacked his attorney, and that attorney immediately wanted off his case.
The true me, not being pulled by you, does not ever want. I'll never help a man. I'm finna kill somebody tonight, right now.
2 weeks before Mykese Morse, police say, deliberately ran over a father and his sons bike riding. He walked into a Tampa police station, records show, and threatened to hurt someone if he was allowed to leave. TPD had Morris Baker acted. It was his 4th time being involuntarily detained for a mental health evaluation.
It's all the devil's fault. We're going to parade the devil around and try to destroy the devil right now.
During Morris's stay at Grace Point in June, documents show he attacked his public defender. Attorney Joseph Coos suffered minor injuries during the physical altercation. Records show on June 18th, he asked to be removed from the case, and it was granted by a judge. Hillsborough Public Defender Julie Holt says the office doesn't discuss active cases, but her office will not be recusing itself from Morris's murder case.
Does he show a premeditation?
Attorney Anthony Rickman, who has no involvement in this case, says the public defender's decision is not surprising.
There's no real conflict. That individual public defender who was attacked is not on this particular case.
I still will kill every single one of y'all.
Morris posted bizarre rants and threats on Instagram, blaming the devil. Sources say after running over the family, Morris even gave police a full confession. Rickman says an insanity defense is likely where this case is headed, but proving it is a tall order.
If you're going to make a U-turn and run your vehicle like a weapon into a family, you have some mental issues. You have mental illness. This guy's got documented mental illness, but it doesn't mean he's legally insane.
It is a complicated case. Keep in mind, a bond hearing was scheduled for today, but it was actually pushed back to next Friday. Morse wants out of jail. Prosecutors want to keep him locked up until his trial. We will see how it plays out next Friday, and we'll give you a complete update, Chris. Back to you.
Interesting the point he made that mental illness doesn't equal insanity. We'll definitely be curious to see how this one turns out. It's a horrible story all the way around. Thanks, Gloria.
Okay.
New at 5 boaters back on dry land tonight. They had quite the scare at sea after their boat capsized. Their 30-foot dive boat went down 22 miles west of Anclote Island. The group was spotted by a Coast Guard rescue plane, which was on a training flight. They were clinging to debris in the water. The boaters say this all started when they lost one of their engines.
Turned around, started heading back, tried to power up, and then that engine quit. And when we lost that, when the stern of the boat sank, and within about 3 minutes, we had rolled over. So we didn't have a whole lot of time. We managed to get some life jackets together, some flotation devices, and there was a lot of flotsam and stuff in the water that we gathered up. Got the EPIRB started and got that running.
The EPIRB is an emergency position indicating radio beacon, which alerts the Coast Guard. The boaters say that device probably saved their lives. It's why the Coast Guard was able to respond quickly. The Coast Guard also radioed nearby boats to help. A charter fishing boat from Tarpon Springs responded and helped bring them back to Clearwater.
Well, drowning is a huge danger here in Florida with all the ponds, lakes, the Gulf out there, its swimming pools. It's actually the leading cause of accidental death of children between the ages of 1 and 4. And that's why Pasco County first responders have produced a dramatic public safety video about drowning prevention. Here's a piece of it.